You think your life is moving too slowly, that you're failing, that time is running out. Before you convince yourself of that, listen carefully, because the story you're about to hear destroys every excuse you've ever believed about being too late. Everybody knows KFC, but almost nobody knows the true story behind the white suit, the beard, and the secret recipe. Imagine this. You're 65 years old. You look back on your life, and you see nothing but failure after failure. Your career collapsed, your savings disappeared, and after decades of trying to fix your life, the government hands you a $105 check, like a reminder that the world has already given up on you. Most people would break, most people would disappear quietly, but this man didn't. Harland Sanders had one of the roughest lives you can imagine. He dropped out of school, lost job after job, got fired as a lawyer after fighting with his own client, failed on the railway, failed as a farmer, failed selling tires. He even failed running a motel after it burned down. Life didn't just knock him down, it stepped on him. But then, in his 50s, he finally found a tiny spark, say a small roadside restaurant where he cooked chicken with a recipe he perfected over years. For the first time, things were going right. People loved his food. He found purpose. He found hope. He thought this was the beginning of stability. But life had one more test for him, the biggest one of all. At 62, the government rerouted the interstate highway, far away from his restaurant. Overnight, his customers vanished. His income dropped to zero, his business died. A lifetime of effort and gone without warning. He was forced to close everything he built. At an age when people retire, he was starting from nothing. He had no money, no business, no backup plan. Just an old car, a white suit, and one fried chicken recipe. He could have accepted his fate. He could have said, "I'm too old." But instead, he did something nobody expected. He turned his car into his bedroom. He filled the back seat with pressure cookers and bags of seasoning, and he began driving across the country, knocking on restaurant doors, not to sell chicken, but to sell belief. He offered his recipe for free, asking only for a small commission on every piece they sold. The world laughed. They saw an old man in a white suit and called him crazy. Rejection 1, rejection 10, rejection 100. Imagine being rejected 500 times at age 65 and still waking up the next day to try again. Door 800, door 900, door 1000. People kept telling him, "You're too old. It will never work. You wasted your life." But he kept going, and on the 1009th knock, everything changed. One restaurant owner said yes, just one. And that single yes became the spark that launched a global empire. Not because of luck, not because of timing, but because a man who had every reason to quit refused to stop. That $105 check wasn't enough to build a business, but it was enough to build belief, enough to remind him that life wasn't over unless he decided it was. Today, KFC operates in more than 150 countries. Millions of people eat his recipe every single day. And the man who started with nothing became a global icon. So before you say you're too old, before you say it's too late, before you say you've failed too many times, remember this. A 65-year-old broke, rejected over 1,000 times, built one of the biggest food empires in history. Your age is not the problem. Your failures are not the problem. The only real problem is the dream you keep postponing because you're afraid to try. Now ask yourself, what idea are you ignoring today? That could be your empire tomorrow.